Listen carefully. In life, we encounter challenges, we encounter changes, and we encounter tragedy. Every one of us goes through this, and we will continue to go through it and experience these throughout our lives. You've probably heard the phrase before, "Fortune favors the brave." But what does it mean? What does it truly mean? The phrase is often attributed to the Romans, born in the dirt and blood of conquest, of land seized, of battle cries in foreign tongues. It sounds heroic, even glorious, wrapped in the armor of warfare. But strip it of the glamour, and you're left with a simple truth. The world rewards those who dare, those who move forward despite uncertainty, those who step into discomfort and chaos, not away from it. The Stoics understood this truth not through war, but through wisdom. For them, bravery wasn't only about sword and shield, it was about showing up when it's easier to hide, speaking truth when silence is safer, enduring loss without losing yourself. And in our modern world, this truth has never been more relevant. Some people live on repeat. They choose comfort, they avoid discomfort, they keep their routines predictable, safe, controlled. They take the warm shower instead of the cold one. They stick with the job they dislike because it pays the bills. They stay quiet in meetings. They wait for the weekend. They count down to the next vacation. And there is nothing wrong with that. Comfort is not evil, but comfort is a cage when it becomes your master. The brave Stoic does not seek safety. The brave Stoic seeks growth. They understand that pain, confusion, hardship, they are the raw materials of transformation. They chase discomfort, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand it is the forge in which character is built. So what does it mean today, in this era of instant gratification, endless scrolling, and on-demand ease, to say that fortune favors the brave? It means learning to walk into the wind, to speak when your voice shakes, to risk failure, to be disciplined, strategic, unshakable, not reckless, but resolved. To be brave is to take the cold shower, to show up to the gym, to take the risk, to start the project, to master the skill, to apply for the opportunity, to lead the conversation, to rise early when the body begs for rest, to live in a way that your ancestors would respect. The brave Stoic does not dream of la dolce vita, the sweet life. They embrace the real life, the life of struggle, triumph, loss, progress. They do not ask to be noticed. They move in silence. They win in silence. They do not seek the crowd's applause. Their reward is internal. It is strength, pride, mastery. That is the journey we begin today. In this video, we will explore how to cultivate bravery in the Stoic tradition, how to become the kind of person who fortune favors, not because of luck, but because of who they've become. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Comfort Trap. In the grand theater of life, most people are backstage. They rehearse lines they never deliver. They live cautiously, avoiding rejection, avoiding risk. And comfort for them becomes both their pillow and their prison. They trade their ambition for predictability, their dreams for a fleeting sense of security. Their days become an endless loop of repetition, working the same job, eating the same meals, seeing the same faces, thinking the same thoughts, until one day they look back and wonder where their courage went. The Stoics, especially Epictetus and Seneca, warned against this life of ease. To them, indulging in comfort wasn't simply laziness. It was a slow death of the soul. Comfort dulls your edge. It turns warriors into watchers. It turns lions into lambs. Comfort can soften the mind, leaving us fragile when life inevitably delivers its blows. The longer you sit in the warmth of familiarity, the harder it becomes to step into the cold of reality. Imagine a man who wakes every day, does the same job, feels a dull ache in his chest, knowing he was made for more, but he shrinks from the unknown. He drives the same route to work, smiles politely at the same people, scrolls through the same feed, and lies awake at night with a quiet voice in his head asking, "Is this all there is?" This is the comfort trap, safe, predictable, and soul-crushing. It is a slow erosion of potential, a quiet death before death. But discomfort, that is where the brave Stoic makes his home. Cold showers, fasting, strenuous effort, physical activity, whether in strength training or endurance, such as daily walks, silence, solitude. These are not punishments, they are preparation. They are intentional acts of rebellion against the numbing grip of complacency. They are self-imposed suffering, voluntary trials, deliberately chosen discomforts, not to glorify misery, but to transform the individual into someone invincible to the world's chaos. Every moment spent in voluntary hardship is a sharpened blade, a calloused hand, an armored mind, a fortified spirit prepared to march into the storm without trembling. The brave Stoic understands a universal truth that most spend their lives avoiding. No one drifts into greatness. You must row against the current, swim upstream, and walk paths that others fear to tread. Greatness is not handed to anyone. It is earned day by day, decision by decision. So they design their days deliberately, with discipline woven into every hour. They endure small pains today, whether waking up before the sun, lifting heavier weights, restraining their indulgences, facing awkward conversations, so that they may build the muscles of mind and body required for tomorrow's inevitable battles. They seek to own discomfort rather than be owned by it. They choose the uphill road. They look for resistance, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that resistance reveals who they are. When you choose discomfort, the world loses its power to hurt you. You train your nerves, your thoughts, your breath to remain calm when others unravel. The world will not spare you. It will not shield you from loss, betrayal, heartbreak, failure. So if you wait for safety, you will be waiting forever. But if you train now, if you rehearse hardship, when the storm finally breaks over you, you will not break with it. You will bend, endure, adapt, and then rise. The Stoics didn't avoid pain. They trained in it. They welcomed it. Because they knew that when pain arrived, and it always arrives, they would not panic. They would proceed. They would endure, adapt, and grow stronger. And when others crumble, they would stand tall, unshaken, because they chose to sharpen themselves while the world slept. They practiced discomfort with discipline, not to punish themselves, but to remind themselves that they could survive discomfort. They fasted, not to impress others, but to detach their happiness from luxury and indulgence. They engaged in labor, study, and reflection long after others rested, because they knew that strength was not found in ease, but in effort. Their lives were living proof that fortune does not randomly descend upon the lucky. It arrives to those who have prepared relentlessly. They understood that destiny does not favor the idle dreamer, but the disciplined doer who has molded themselves through conscious effort. They recognized that the universe does not hand out gifts to those who wait passively, but reveals its treasures to those who have trained themselves to see opportunity where others only see hardship. When the wind howled and the earth shook, when chaos erupted, the brave Stoic did not waver. He stood in the storm, not because he was immune to fear, but because he had made fear his teacher. He did not shatter beneath the weight of uncertainty, because he had carried that weight voluntarily every single day. Each trial he faced was not new. He had rehearsed it silently in his discipline, in his self-denial, in his relentless pursuit of personal fortitude. For he had already lived this moment 1,000 times in preparation, and each time he had chosen to remain unbroken. He had already trained his heart to beat steadily in the face of disaster, his breath to remain calm under pressure, his mind to clear itself when confusion threatened. When others lost themselves in panic, he remained rooted. His preparation became his armor, his habits became his shield, and his bravery became his beacon in the darkness. This is what it means when we say fortune favors the brave. Not that fate is random and arbitrary, but that fortune recognizes and gravitates toward those who have become worthy of its gifts through deliberate preparation. The brave Stoic understands that when preparation meets adversity, what the world calls luck is merely the visible result of invisible labor. And so he continues to sharpen himself day after day, knowing that fortune does not arrive to rescue the unprepared. It arrives to reward the courageous and the ready. Chapter 2. Courage, not foolishness. The brave Stoic is not reckless. He does not leap from cliffs and call it flight. He calculates, he weighs, he strategizes. He looks at every risk and strips it of illusion. He does not act out of impulse or childish bravado. Bravery without reason is chaos, a wild horse galloping without reins, destined to fall. But bravery coupled with discipline, that is true power. That is when bravery transforms from mere noise into a quiet, unshakable force. The brave Stoic knows that to charge into the unknown without a plan is not courage, but carelessness. True courage is rooted in wisdom. It is the product of forethought, of sober calculation, of strategic vision. He sharpens his mind before stepping onto the battlefield. He prepares his heart before facing adversity. He trains his instincts to respond not with panic, but with precision. Consider Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who stood at the helm of an empire in turmoil. He faced daily threats, plagues sweeping through cities, foreign enemies sharpening their swords, political betrayal festering behind palace doors. Yet, he did not run from it. He did not drown in indulgence or retreat into the luxury of power. He ruled with logic and heart. He rose early to write, to reflect, to steel his spirit. He remained calm amidst the storms of state, knowing that the only domain he truly ruled was himself. The brave Stoic understands that the only true battlefield is within. External chaos is inevitable. Life will throw plagues, betrayals, loss and disaster at your doorstep. But the internal chaos, that can be conquered. The brave Stoic does not waste his energy trying to bend the world to his will. Instead, he bends himself. He becomes unmoved by insult, unshaken by threat, undeterred by hardship. He knows that courage is not the absence of fear, but mastery over it. To be brave is to hear the voice of doubt and proceed anyway, to recognize the weight of risk and still step forward, to know full well that failure is possible and yet refuse to bow before it. Speak with confidence, not arrogance. Let your words carry the weight of sincerity, not the hollow sound of vanity. True confidence is built on preparation, on mastery, on the unshakable knowledge that you have done the work. It is not the loudest voice that commands respect, but the voice that is calm, measured, and born from inner certainty. Step forward into difficulty, not because you are immune to fear, but because you have chosen not to be ruled by it. Courage is not found in the absence of fear. It is forged in the crucible of fear and chosen in the face of uncertainty. To step forward is to affirm to yourself and the world that you are willing to carry the burden of effort, responsibility, and risk without complaint. Not without fear, but without being paralyzed by it. That is the Stoic's courage. It is the choice to act despite trembling hands, racing thoughts, and the temptation to hide. It is standing firm when every instinct screams to retreat. It is the decision to advance even when the outcome is unclear, even when defeat is possible. It is the courage to act not because the outcome is guaranteed, but because action itself is honorable. The Stoic understands that the reward is not always in the result, but in the effort itself. The person who takes action, who endures the discomfort of uncertainty, is already victorious because they refuse to yield to passivity or despair. It is the willingness to show up, to speak truth, to do what is necessary even when the heart races and the hands tremble. It is recognizing that bravery is not a grand gesture seen by many, but 1,000 small choices made in silence. To stand in the arena, knowing you may fall, and to do so anyway, that is the essence of courage. That is what separates the reckless from the brave, the fool from the stoic warrior. The fool charges blindly, intoxicated by impulse. The brave stoic steps deliberately, aware of every risk, yet undeterred. His bravery is not loud but relentless, not boastful but enduring. He acts not to be seen, but because he knows that action, even imperfect action, is the only path to mastery and freedom. Chapter 3. Memento Mori and the Edge of Life. To live bravely is to live with death in your periphery, not to be paralyzed by it, but activated. Memento Mori, remember that you will die. This is not a morbid fixation, but a practical and liberating awareness. It is a reminder that the clock is always ticking, that each day is a page turned, never to be written again. Every sunrise is both an invitation and a warning. Your time here is limited. The brave stoic wakes up and realizes, today is not promised, tomorrow is not owed. That knowledge doesn't depress him, it awakens him. It shakes him from complacency like a thunderclap at dawn. It fuels his urgency, infusing every hour with meaning. It strips away the illusion of endless time that so many sleepwalkers in life cling to. The illusion that there will always be another day, another chance, another tomorrow. It cuts through procrastination like a blade, reminding him that life is lived in this moment, not in the someday of vague intentions. It brings a raw clarity to his choices and sharpens his priorities as a whetstone sharpens a blade. He looks at his calendar not as a map of appointments, but as a battlefield of choices. Every slot, every block of time is a decision about how to spend his finite existence. He does not squander his minutes in idle distractions or hollow comforts. He asks himself daily, if this were my last sunrise, would I be proud of how I lived today? You delay launching the project. You may never get the chance. Time may rob you of the window of opportunity you thought would always be there. That brilliant idea you cradle may wither in your hands if you do not breathe life into it today. You avoid saying how you truly feel. That conversation may never come again, and the person may never be within reach again. Unspoken words are a burden heavier than regret. You hesitate to change your life. Life will change anyway, without your permission, without waiting for your readiness. It will sweep the ground from under you, whether you stand prepared or trembling. The sands in the hourglass slip away whether you are prepared or not. Each hesitation is a gamble you cannot win against time. Every delay is a deal you make with death, betting that you will have another chance when no such promise was ever made. The Stoic understands this truth and refuses to play such reckless games with fate. The Stoic does not treat death as an enemy, but as a teacher. He recognizes that death is not something that waits at the distant horizon, but walks beside us every day, a shadow that never leaves our side. Each breath we take is borrowed. Each moment we waste is irretrievable, slipping quietly into the abyss of what could have been. He knows that every day lived unconsciously is a day surrendered to the void. Every hour wasted in hesitation or fear is an hour forever lost. To ignore death is to live a half-life, always assuming you will have time later to be brave, to love, to build, to forgive, to dare. Death is not to be feared. It is to be respected. It is to be studied and understood so that its presence sharpens rather than softens us. It is the sharpest reminder that time is not to be wasted. It is the clearest signal to live now, to dare now, to love now, to build now. It is the invitation to rise each morning and choose to be present, to pursue mastery, to act boldly without waiting for a perfect moment that will never come. It teaches the Stoic that today is the only guarantee, and that fortune smiles not on those who wait, but on those who move boldly in the shadow of their own mortality. The brave Stoic lives with death as a constant companion, not to dwell in darkness, but to shine brighter in its shadow, for it is in the presence of death that life becomes vivid, urgent, and meaningful. The Stoic does not run from death. He walks alongside it, knowing that every step in its company forces him to live more fully. It is through remembering death that the brave Stoic learns how to truly live. It is through acknowledging the fragility of life that he discovers the unbreakable power within himself to make every moment count. Chapter 4. Daily Practices of the Brave. Let's get practical. The brave Stoic lives in action. He knows that philosophy without practice is empty, like a sword left to rust in its sheath. It is not enough to think or speak about bravery. You must live it, breathe it, and fold it into the fabric of your daily existence. The Stoic understands that greatness is forged not in moments of grand gesture, but in the thousands of small, disciplined actions carried out when no one is watching. Wake up early, even if it's hard, especially if it's hard. Rise before the world does. Claim those quiet hours when distractions are few and you can hear your own thoughts. Each early morning is an act of rebellion against laziness and complacency. Cold showers. Start your day with discomfort. Let it shock you awake. Teach your body and mind that you will not be ruled by fleeting feelings of comfort. The cold reminds you that you can endure what is unpleasant and that you are stronger than your impulses. Silence. Sit in it. Observe your thoughts. Take control. Spend time each day in stillness, away from the noise of the world. In silence, you come face to face with yourself. In silence, you sharpen your awareness and reclaim mastery over your mind. Reading and journaling. Learn. Reflect. Document your evolution. Feed your mind with the wisdom of those who came before you. Reflect on your actions, your mistakes, your victories. Let your journal become the blueprint of your growth, a record of your battle against yourself. Physical exercise. Move. Sweat. Discipline the body. A strong body houses a strong mind. Push yourself physically, not to impress others, but to build resilience, strength, and discipline that bleeds into every other area of your life. Hard conversations. Don't avoid them. Prepare. Speak truth. Avoidance weakens the soul. Face the uncomfortable discussions with honesty and humility. Speak even when your voice shakes, knowing that truth is a sword only the brave wield. Creative work. Build something. Start small. Keep going. Whether it's writing, crafting, creating, or learning, make something out of nothing. Creation is an act of bravery in a world that rewards consumption and passivity. Each day, a Stoic trains. Each task is a representative. Each challenge, a workout for the soul. But the brave Stoic goes even further. He treats every mundane task, every setback, every inconvenience as another opportunity to practice. He does not compartmentalize his discipline. It infuses everything he touches. He understands that bravery is not reserved for moments of crisis, but is cultivated in the ordinary, in how you do the dishes, how you speak to others, how you confront boredom and fatigue. The brave Stoic's life is a living dojo. Every interaction is a lesson, every obstacle a teacher, every discomfort a chance to sharpen the blade of his character. His daily practices are not habits, they are rituals of transformation. And over time, through the steady weight of repetition, he becomes someone that fortune can no longer ignore. Chapter 5. Silent Strength. The brave Stoic is not loud, He doesn't need to tell you how brave he is. You feel it. He walks into a room and you notice, not because he demands attention, but because he radiates presence. His energy does not shout. It hums with certainty and composure. His strength is not worn on his sleeve, but felt in the calm of his gaze, in the deliberate way he moves, in the weight of his silence. He doesn't need validation. He validates himself through his actions. He does not seek applause, nor does he shrink when applause is absent. He understands that external recognition is fleeting, but internal mastery is forever. He does not measure his worth by the eyes of others, but by the standards he has set for himself in the quiet hours when no one is watching. He doesn't need praise. His progress is his reward. He does not tally compliments or count accolades. He finds fulfillment in his discipline, in the work done when he could have chosen comfort instead. He does not wait for motivation. He acts regardless of mood. He understands that moods are like weather, unpredictable and ever-changing. His actions are rooted deeper, in principles, in resolve, in the knowledge that each step forward, no matter how small, is an act of rebellion against passivity. This is the silent strength of the Stoic, humble, grounded, committed, fortified. But it goes beyond mere composure. It is a strength that does not seek attention because it does not need it. It is the quiet confidence of someone who has walked through fire and emerged stronger, not needing to prove anything to anyone. It is the power of restraint, of self-possession, of knowing who you are and who you are becoming. It is the understanding that true power does not need to parade itself. It emanates naturally from discipline, integrity, and inner mastery. The silent Stoic is like a mountain, unmoved by storms, indifferent to praise or criticism, standing tall and steady, not because he declares his greatness, but because he simply is. His bravery is carved into the way he shows up every single day, without fanfare, without expectation, but with unwavering purpose. He understands that external noise fades, but inner strength endures. When others are shouting to be seen, he is quietly shaping himself to be immovable. His silence is not weakness, it is discipline. His calm is not passivity, it is control. He is not reactive to the chaos of others because he has conquered the chaos within. The silent Stoic leads without leading, inspires without instructing, and commands respect without demanding it. People notice him not for his words, but for his way of being. He teaches without speaking, a living example of what it means to be brave, composed, and honorable. This strength is not an accident. It is the result of countless unseen battles, of decisions made in solitude, of moments where he could have spoken but chose silence, where he could have indulged but chose restraint. His presence is the sum of 1,000 small victories over himself. When the world trembles and others scatter, the silent Stoic remains steady. He is the calm in the storm, the unmoved mover, the quiet force who bends reality not by shouting, but by being the unshakable pillar around which the chaos must organize itself. His bravery is not in grand displays, but in quiet endurance. He lives, breathes, and embodies the philosophy that fortune favors the brave, and he does so without needing anyone to notice. Chapter 6. The obstacle is the path. A Stoic sees obstacles not as curses, but as calls to rise. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This simple truth is not poetic fluff. It is the iron law of human progress. Every barrier, every setback, every painful moment is not merely something to endure, but something to use. Lose your job. Build something of your own. Lose the comfort. Lose the paycheck. Lose the security, but refuse to lose yourself. Let the loss ignite in you the drive to create, to innovate, to carve your own path where none existed before. Let it be the moment you stop waiting for permission and start building your own fortune with your own hands. Get rejected. Grow stronger. Do not take it personally. Take it seriously. Let rejection teach you resilience, sharpen your skills, and remind you that your worth is not dependent on someone else's approval. Each no you hear is not a wall. It is a redirection, a spark urging you to refine your character and double down on your purpose. Feel lost? Explore your soul. The Stoic knows that feeling lost is not a curse. It is a signal, a reminder that there is something deeper you have not yet discovered about yourself. When the path disappears beneath your feet, you are being asked not to follow, but to forge. Life does not punish you. It prepares you. Every setback, every unexpected twist, every moment of pain is not a sentence. It is a summons. The obstacle is not the end. It is the door. It is the crucible through which you must pass to become more than you were yesterday. It is the threshold separating who you were from who you are meant to become. When you are met with resistance, it is not because life is against you. It is because life is giving you the raw material to sculpt your character, to harden your resolve, to ignite your growth. Every hardship, every failure, every heartbreak is an initiation. It is the universe's way of testing whether you are truly ready for what you claim to want. It is not there to stop you but to shape you, to mold you into someone worthy of the very thing you seek. The obstacle is the proving ground, the anvil upon which your bravery, your will, and your resilience are hammered into form. Without the obstacle there is no elevation. Without resistance there is no strength. The brave Stoic opens that door, walks through it, and never looks back. He does not stand before it, lamenting the challenge or pleading for an easier way. He does not wait for the perfect conditions or an easier road, because he knows that perfection is an illusion and ease is a thief of potential. He steps forward not because the path is clear, but because he knows that he will clear the path. He understands that courage is not waiting for certainty, but moving forward in the face of uncertainty. He knows the terrain may be rough, that the journey may test every fiber of his being, that at times he may falter or stumble, but he moves forward anyway. His feet are blistered but steady. His mind is weary but focused. His heart beats not with fear, but with fire. He understands that on the other side of difficulty is destiny, not predetermined by fate, but earned by courage, forged by action, and claimed by the brave. He knows that destiny is not something you wait for, but something you carve out of stone with your bare hands. It is not the absence of obstacles that leads to greatness. It is the willingness to face them head-on, to push through when others retreat, to rise when others fall. It is in the struggle that the seeds of greatness are sown and watered. It is in the persistence through difficulty that character is forged like iron in the flames. He does not curse the obstacle. He thanks it. He sees in it the catalyst for his evolution, the crucible of his becoming, because he knows that the obstacle is the way. Each challenge is a gift in disguise, an opportunity to cultivate wisdom, strength, and self-mastery. He understands that without these trials, he would never become who he is destined to be. That every hardship, every setback, every test is not a detour, but the very path to his greatness. So when the world places a boulder in his path, he does not stop. He climbs it, he moves it, or he breaks it down stone by stone. If it takes 1,000 days, so be it. If it breaks him down to rebuild him stronger, so be it. He is not discouraged by how high the mountain is or how heavy the load may be. Because with every step forward, with every stone lifted, he transforms into a version of himself that fortune can no longer ignore. He becomes not just someone who has overcome obstacles, but someone who was created by them. Chapter 7. Building the Stoic Fortress. The journey of the brave Stoic does not end with the mastery of the inner world. It must extend outward, into the daily interactions, the social arenas, the responsibilities of life. It is easy to be calm in solitude. The true test is to carry that calm into the world of noise, distraction, expectation, and adversity. This is where the Stoic builds his fortress, not of stone, but of presence, boundaries, and purpose. The brave Stoic knows that his energy is finite, his attention precious. He guards them fiercely. He does not allow himself to be drained by gossip, by trivial disputes, by the constant demands of a world addicted to outrage. He chooses carefully where he invests his time, his words, and his presence. His boundaries are firm, but not cruel. He is generous, but not at the expense of his peace. To build the Stoic fortress is to build a life that supports your values, a structure within which you can grow without being torn apart by the chaos outside. It means saying no to what does not serve you. It means crafting an environment that nourishes your focus, your discipline, your bravery. The walls of this fortress are made of discipline. The gates are guarded by reason. Inside, the brave Stoic cultivates meaningful relationships, purposeful work, and a daily practice of gratitude and reflection. He does not waste time tearing down the walls of others or seeking validation from crowds. He knows that fortune favors not only the brave, but also the prepared, and preparation requires protection. The construction of the Stoic fortress is not an abstract concept. It is a practical, deliberate process. It begins with ruthless clarity about what matters and what does not. It requires the brave Stoic to audit his life ruthlessly, how he spends his time, where he places his focus, who he allows into his inner circle, and what distractions he permits to enter the gates of his mind. The fortress is built one brick at a time, with every disciplined habit, every boundary enforced, every relationship chosen with care. In the fortress, the Stoic is not isolated, but fortified, prepared to face the demands of the outer world without being dismantled by them. Chapter 8. The Battlefield of Relationships. No Stoic fortress exists in isolation. Life is not lived in a vacuum, and the brave Stoic understands that relationships, whether with friends, family, colleagues, or strangers, are among the greatest teachers and trials of character. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice bravery, humility, patience, and restraint. It is not in solitude but in connection that the Stoic's courage is tested and refined. It is easy to practice virtue when there is no one around to provoke you, but it is within the unpredictable, often messy realm of human relationships that the true test of bravery emerges. People will test you. They will misunderstand you, disappoint you, sometimes betray you. They will project their chaos onto you, challenge your peace, and drag you into their storms. They will carry their own wounds, their own insecurities, their own tempers and expectations, and whether intentionally or unintentionally, they will shake the foundation of your patience and force you to confront yourself. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. The Stoic does not waste energy trying to change others. He changes himself. He views the shortcomings of others as an invitation to deepen his own understanding, to temper his impulses, to stretch his empathy. The battlefield of relationships is filled with traps, misunderstandings, assumptions, ego battles, and emotional reactions. These traps are not obvious. They lie hidden beneath casual conversations, family expectations, social obligations, and even well-meaning gestures. The brave Stoic navigates this field carefully, knowing that every interaction is a chance to embody his philosophy in real time. He understands that in relationships, bravery does not mean dominating or manipulating others. It means standing firm in your values while giving others the space to be imperfect. It means holding space for others' humanity while never compromising your own principles. The Stoic recognizes that the people around him are often mirrors reflecting back his own areas of growth. A careless word from a friend, a betrayal from a partner, an insult from a stranger. These are not merely wounds inflicted upon him. They are signals, reminders to strengthen his discipline and revisit his boundaries. Relationships test the Stoic not just emotionally, but spiritually, revealing where his attachments, fears, and insecurities still hide. In relationships, bravery means honesty without cruelty, love without attachment, boundaries without resentment. It requires the strength to say what is true without the need to wound, to offer love freely without expecting something in return, and to set clear limits without carrying bitterness. It is the courage to speak truth when it is uncomfortable and to hold silence when it is wise. It is standing firm when you are right and admitting fault when you are wrong without shame. It is recognizing when a relationship has become toxic and having the strength to walk away, even when it hurts. And it is offering steadfast loyalty and compassion when someone you care for is lost and needs your light, even when you receive nothing in return. The brave Stoic knows that relationships, while beautiful and necessary, can also become cages if entered unconsciously. He does not fear rejection. He does not crave approval. He enters every relationship not as a beggar seeking affection, but as a builder offering presence and integrity. He understands that love is not possession, that friendship is not control, and that connection is not a transaction. He does not compromise who he is for the comfort of others. He brings his full self to every encounter, unafraid to be seen and unafraid to stand alone if necessary. His relationships are not built on dependency, but on mutual respect and authentic connection. He offers his love freely, but does not make himself a prisoner to the expectations or opinions of others. For the Stoic, emotional freedom is the highest form of bravery. It is the ability to walk through the world untethered by the need for approval, unaffected by praise or criticism, untouched by the winds of others' moods and opinions. He is unshaken by the opinions of others because he has already confronted and mastered his own. He has wrestled with his own insecurities, faced his fears, acknowledged his flaws, and emerged on the other side unburdened. His bravery is not a performance for the world to witness. It is an internal victory that requires no audience. He gives without losing himself. His kindness is not transactional, nor does he demand reciprocity. He loves freely, but does not allow himself to be chained by the expectations of others. He listens without bending his values, understanding that hearing another's perspective does not mean compromising his own principles. He walks away without bitterness, knowing that not every relationship is meant to last, and that letting go is sometimes the bravest act of all. Every encounter, every conversation, every tension is an opportunity to become more patient, more present, more virtuous. The brave Stoic understands that relationships are not measured by their comfort, but by their ability to challenge and refine. He uses every misunderstanding as a mirror to check his own ego, every disappointment as a prompt to deepen his resilience. He approaches conflict not as a battleground to win, but as a classroom to learn. The Stoic approaches relationships as another arena in which to sharpen virtue. He listens with patience, speaks with honesty, loves with freedom, and lets go without bitterness. He shows up fully, without hiding, without pretending, without the weight of needing to be understood or validated. He knows that every person he meets is an opportunity to practice courage, humility, and wisdom. Each conversation, every disagreement, every moment of connection is an exercise in becoming stronger, kinder, and clearer. Each time he holds space for someone's imperfection Each time he refrains from lashing out, each time he forgives without condition, he chisels away at his own rough edges. For the brave Stoic, relationships are not a source of chaos, but a mirror in which he can continuously refine who he is. Each interaction is a reflection of his discipline, a test of his composure, and an exercise in his ability to apply philosophy in real time. He understands that every tension, every misunderstanding, every act of betrayal or kindness he encounters is a subtle invitation to practice patience, wisdom, and restraint. Where others see conflict, the Stoic sees an opportunity to grow. He does not blame others for how they make him feel. He thanks them for showing him where his work still lies. When someone offends him, he does not lash out, but reflects inward, asking what nerve has been touched and why it is still raw. When someone disappoints him, he examines whether his expectations were fair, whether his attachment was excessive. He transforms the emotional friction of relationships into the fuel for his own refinement. He understands that the people in his life are both his challenge and his compass. They reveal his blind spots, test his virtues, and sometimes become the very obstacles through which he sharpens his character. Each person, whether friend or foe, is part of the curriculum of his growth. Even the most difficult individuals serve a purpose in his journey towards self-mastery. Through this relentless refinement, he transforms every relationship, not through control, but through his unwavering example of courage and calm, his steadfast presence, his willingness to listen without judgment, to speak truth without malice, to forgive without condition, becomes a quiet revolution in the lives of those around him. In doing so, he not only shapes himself, but invites others to rise alongside him. He becomes a lighthouse, guiding without force, illuminating the path for others through the simple, persistent bravery of living by example. Chapter 9. Bravery in Action. Bravery is not an abstract quality discussed in philosophical texts. It is a muscle developed through deliberate, consistent action. It is not something reserved for heroic figures in history books or for those standing on battlefields. It is woven into the very fabric of everyday existence. The brave Stoic does not merely contemplate what it means to be courageous. He practices it every day. He understands that courage is not a gift bestowed by fate, but a skill built moment by moment, choice by choice. It is not summoned only in grand moments of crisis, but cultivated in the mundane, in the daily, in the small acts that shape who you are when no one is watching. Bravery is showing up when you don't feel ready. It's speaking the truth when it's uncomfortable, when your voice shakes and your pulse quickens. It's facing your fears instead of hiding from them, whether those fears come in the form of uncertainty, discomfort, or the judgment of others. It is the discipline to do the difficult thing, to take the first step even when the path ahead is unclear, to move forward despite uncertainty and risk. It is choosing discomfort over convenience, growth over stagnation, integrity over approval. The Stoic understands that bravery is cumulative. Each small act of courage compounds like interest, quietly building into something unbreakable over time. Bravery is not forged in a single dramatic moment, but in the quiet, repeated decisions made when no one is watching. It is the accumulated weight of all the times you choose to act rather than hide, to speak rather than remain silent, to move forward when it would be easier to retreat. Every day, you can choose to strengthen your bravery or let it wither. Say no to what insults your soul, even when it would be easier to comply and avoid conflict. Speak when your voice shakes, knowing that silence is complicity, that by not speaking, you abandon not only the truth, but yourself. Pursue the project you've delayed, the one that scares you because it matters, because it demands you grow beyond who you were yesterday. Hold yourself accountable when it would be easier to hide behind excuses. Confront the uncomfortable conversation that has lingered for too long. Step into uncertainty rather than waiting endlessly for the perfect moment that will never come. Practice patience when you want to rage, knowing that restraint is an act of strength. Choose discipline over indulgence, progress over procrastination. All of these are acts of bravery. The brave Stoic does not wait to feel courageous. He acts, knowing that courage is built through action. He understands that courage is not a feeling, but a practice, a decision made in the moment, regardless of how he feels. He knows that the reward of bravery is not external applause, but internal growth. Each courageous act, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming unshakable. Each step forward, no matter how uncertain, reinforces the truth that you can trust yourself, that you are capable of more than your fears would have you believe. It is a promise kept to oneself. And over time, the brave Stoic becomes a living testament to the truth that bravery is not something you have. It is something you do, again and again, until it becomes who you are. The repetition of courageous acts becomes a rhythm, a heartbeat that beats louder than fear, stronger than doubt. Bravery, then, is not an achievement, but a habit, a way of living that transforms not only how you face the world, but how you see yourself. It becomes the foundation upon which you build an unshakable life. Chapter 10. Fortune favors the brave. When all is said and done, the Stoic understands one immutable truth: fortune favors the brave. Not because the brave are immune to failure, but because they refuse to be defined by it. Not because they never fall, but because they rise every time. The brave are not without scars. Their bravery is carved into them by the very hardships they have endured and overcome. Their victories are not handed to them, but wrestled from the grip of chaos and uncertainty. Fortune is not a whimsical goddess dispensing blessings to the lucky. It is the product of preparation, discipline, resilience, and action. It is not the random gift of fate, but the earned reward of those who have chosen to act when others froze, to step forward when others stepped back. It is the result of 1,000 small acts of bravery, the accumulation of choices made in silence, the relentless pursuit of mastery without the need for applause. It is the fruit of a life lived with intention, of courage expressed in both grand gestures and quiet, daily decisions. The brave Stoic does not gamble on luck. He does not wait for opportunity to arrive. He creates it. He forges it through his discipline, through the relentless sharpening of his character. He knows that fortune smiles upon those who dare to challenge the uncertainty of life, who refuse to sit idle and hope for favorable winds. He understands that the world yields to those who are bold enough to shape it with their own hands. He accepts that risk is the price of reward, that failure is not a verdict, but a step, and that inaction is the greatest danger of all, the slow, silent thief of potential. Fortune favors the one who takes responsibility for his life, who does not blame circumstance or shrink before adversity. It favors the one who, in the face of fear, steps forward anyway. It favors the one who rises after falling, who continues after failing, who persists when the odds are against him. The Stoic understands that fortune's favor is not something to wait for, but something to earn. He understands that the universe does not conspire for the timid, nor does it gift rewards to the passive. It bends gently toward those who refuse to kneel before difficulty, who carry on despite the weight of doubt, and who understand that every obstacle contains an opportunity concealed within its shadow. Fortune honors the one who steps beyond the threshold of comfort and chooses growth over ease, effort over excuse, and courage over complacency. It smiles upon those who are willing to stand alone if necessary, who are prepared to risk criticism, discomfort, and loss because they understand that the greater risk lies in standing still. Fortune aligns itself with those who choose the harder road, the longer climb, the uncertain path, knowing that the journey itself is where transformation takes place. So stand tall, speak truth, step forward, build your fortress brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. Fight your inner battles, the doubts, the fears, the excuses, and face the outer ones with resolve and dignity. Do not wait for permission from the world to live bravely. Do not linger in hesitation, waiting for a sign or the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment, and it belongs to the bold. Remember, fortune does not smile on the timid. It smiles on the brave. It bows to those who act, who endure, who persist, who get up after being knocked down, who try again when others would quit. It rewards those who understand that life is not meant to be tiptoed through, but lived fully, fiercely, with eyes wide open and heart set on fire. The choice is yours. It always has been. No one will hand you courage. No one will bestow bravery upon you. It is yours to claim through action, through discipline, through the daily decision to lean into life rather than away from it. Be brave. Be stoic. And when you look back on your life, let it be a testament to the truth that fortune favors not those who waited, but those who dared. Let your days speak loudly, even in silence, of a life lived without regret, without timidity, without apology, a life that proved every step of the way that fortune bows only to the brave.